Okay, hey guys. If anyone's really watching this, I don't know. So local time is 3:56 a.m. I just got out of a preview test screening of The Batman. Um, I don't know, I'm not really tired. I was probably just gonna go home and lie in my bed and like stare at the ceiling or something. I don't know. So I just thought I would get my thoughts on the screen here and let you guys know what I thought of the movie. Get some of those early reviews out, get some views, get some money. Anyways, so this movie was really interesting, and interesting in a good way, I'll say. It definitely, no, I'd say it was about what I was expecting when I was going in. I wasn't really. Of course, there is a lot of action. Of course, it's a Batman movie. There are the chases and there's the action, but at its heart, it's really like a detective. It's a noir movie, and that's what they were saying when they were going to make it. It's definitely a noir movie. It's basically Batman going against the Zodiac killer. But I'm sure you guys know that. You guys have followed the production. I'm sure if you're watching this early. There's the Riddler. He's like the main bad, but also not really. And he's there. He's leaving the clues for Batman to find. There's all these like corrupt politicians, and he's killing them and like taping them up and duct tape. And then like leaving these clues, and he's like, "Oh, Batman." Here's one that he used. What does a liar do when he dies? He lies still. Lie still. Like, you're dead, you lie on the ground, you're dead, you lie still. And I hate to say it, but I thought that was actually pretty clever. He's been playing his Professor Layton games. Other than that, I thought that most of the characters were good. Most of them. There were a couple, of course, weak links. Of course, Batman is good. Of course, that's the most integral part to a Batman story is you have to have a good Batman. And, I thought that he was done a serviceable job. I work at a theater, so I saw this, as a part of a sort of pre-screening. That's why it's, one, so late, and two, hasn't been publicly released in my area yet. I had this disagreement with my coworkers. So a lot of them were saying they don't like this Bruce Wayne because he is real antisocial. Like, he doesn't talk to anyone, even Alfred was like, "Oh, Batman, you never do anything." And he's like, "Quiet, Alfred, I'm trying to solve this puzzle that the Riddler sent me." And so then there's like that. He's like he's a shut-in, and everyone kind of comments, when there's the mayor's funeral, the mayor being the guy who you see die and get taped up in all the trailers. He goes to the funeral, he's all like dressed up, and then Alfred's like, "Oh, Batman is finally Bruce Wayne's finally making an appearance." And he's like, "Yeah, I must, it's to get more clues." And then it's like, I thought it was interesting, it's like the media immediately snapped to Bruce Wayne. They're like, "Oh, Bruce Wayne, give us a comment. And so I'm like, yeah, that's interesting to see, and that's something that, you really obviously kind of pick up on. And it's to the point where even, some of the, like, people in poverty, they live in poverty and they're in Gotham, and, they're like, "You look familiar, but I can't place you." And then they're like, "Oh, you're Bruce Wayne, get out of here, you rich old hoagie." And so, I can't think of another adaptation that's really done that. Everyone knows Bruce Wayne in the comics and in the games and all the other movies. He's very philanthropic. Yeah, he's very philanthropic. But this one just isn't. Like, he wallows in his little cave, which is like under Wayne Tower. They never actually make it really clear where it is, but I think it's under Wayne Tower. And it's a dingy little affair. It's not like a cave in the traditional sense, but it's just like an abandoned little area that Batman has a couple of monitors set up on. I thought that was good. I always, if anyone ever asks, I love Doctor Strange. I love Doctor Strange with all my heart. Wanda, Spider-Man, those are all my favorite guys, right? But at a certain point in the MCU, you kind of lose the relatability of it. You know, it's like there are all these monster attacks you see in the Doctor Strange 2 trailer, which I'll probably be doing a video on that if this one has any interest. You know, you see, and there's like the giant monsters coming in, and then of course the people are running away. But you know, you got to really think in their shoes. They're like, oh, here we go again. You know, it's not, I lose that relatability because I don't see myself living in that world anymore. I don't know how I would react because I've never been running from my life from a giant tentacle monster with one eye. And so that was nice to see. You know, it's always nice to see these grounded takes on superheroes, and Batman does that really well. Superman, Man of Steel, Zack Snyder, no thank you. But yeah, the Batman was really good in creating that. And speaking of creating, the Gotham City itself was so nicely portrayed. Like, the city itself felt, it like, breathed. Yeah, if that makes any sense. It's like you could see, you know, there's like trash everywhere. It's Detroit. You know, there's trash everywhere, you know, there's stray dogs, stray cats, homeless people living in abandoned buildings. You see that, and you can, like, feel the state of decay. It's like, I'm sitting there in my seat, and I feel the grease on me, and I'm sure it was probably just all the popcorn I was eating, but that's not the important thing. The important thing is the city itself. It really felt alive, and as the story progressed, and as certain things happened, which I kind of disagree with, you could see the change there in the city. And you can see as Batman, he starts off the movie, he's really questioning, he's like, why am I doing this? I've been doing this for 2 years now, and there's been no change. But you see the change happen as the movie progresses, just as Batman does. It's slow, you know? You're really dragging every inch that you're going, but he's making progress, and the people, because, and this is another important aspect, it's really like Batman Year One, which everyone seems to like to do. It's really the origin of Batman. No one trusts the guy, you know? You really see, as the mayor, he gets, no, not, was it the mayor? Well, the first guy, he gets killed. And then you see, there are all the cops, and, you know, they kind of part ways to let Batman through, but they're staring at him. They are staring that guy down. They're like, who is that guy? You know, I don't trust him. And in fact, it's always Jim Gordon, who is portrayed masterfully in this movie. He's always coming, he's like, oh, come on. He's my bud. Come on, like, you know, let him through. And then he's making all these deductions, Batman. He's, like, on the scene. And, but then the people that are like, oh, you're Batman, I don't know who you are, I don't trust you, you got the cape on, you got the mask. But I thought it was really well done, because you see the mistrust in the people, you know, they're scared. It's time for another election, there's the mayorship is up for grabs, and you can see how it's affecting the people. You know, there's really the rigid old ways with the white old man against the little young black girl who's also running, and I felt like that was a little on the nose. Of course, look at me. But I thought it was pretty well done. You know, this movie really does tackles corruption. It tackles how people perceive each other and how that changes with new information coming to light. You know, Batman, he has this real crisis of faith, and he goes and he talks to Alfred, and he's at his lowest, and actually so is Alfred, but, you know, no spoilers there. But, you know, and they really connect on that, you know, and you see that there are good people in the world, and at that point in the movie, Batman was starting to doubt that. He was starting to go, oh, there's no good person in this world, everyone's all corrupt. And we see how that changes. So I guess, one thing I'll talk about is the action. The action was really well choreographed. My coworkers and I really disagreed on this point, but, I like a Batman who takes hits. He gets punched, he gets knocked down, and this happens really in spades. In fact, there were a couple of times when it seemed like Batman wouldn't even be able to get up. In fact, sometimes there are times when he doesn't get up, and that just makes it all the better, because it's like, I can empathize with this person, and not just someone grabbing an alien gun and gunning down the aliens. Do, 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 do. I see you, Ben Affleck Batman. Still haven't forgiven you, by the way. I'm kidding. But it's just, I feel this world. I feel the relatability of it. And the car chase scene, it was awesome. You know, Penguin's trying to run away from, like, a bad drug deal that Batman had interfered with. And, you know, he's chasing him in this Batmobile. And I will say, I didn't really like the Batmobile in this one. Though it did seem thematically appropriate. It seemed like it was something that was just cobbled together with, like, a bunch of pieces. It looked like it was like a scrap car, with the big old exposed engine in the back. And, you know, driving it real fast, you know, nitros, however you say that. And I thought that was really well done, especially that whole chase, you know. Penguin, he starts off, he's like, you know, he's just trying to, like, avoid Batman, and then he starts really trying, he's like weaving in and out of traffic, and you can tell he's like, he doesn't want to make a scene, he doesn't want to crash or do anything else like that. But as the scene progresses, you see him gradually lose that fear. He starts ramming into cars, which, that is a criticism I'll say. It's like, Penguin, he's banging up his car a bunch, he's literally slamming into other cars, like, at full force, and there's, like, no damage on the car at all. And I kind of look at that and I'm like, come on, man. But yeah, that whole chase scene, it was really good. Riddler, he was good too. There's the obvious Zodiac Killer inspiration, which, especially in the costume and the sort of, like, the sort of encryptions, you know, the sort of clues he leaves behind. And I don't really know how I felt about that, honestly, because it's like, you know, that strikes a little bit too close to home. Not that I've ever, like, encountered anything like that, but just, like, that seems a bit too real, you know? It's like, should we really be parodying real serial killers that have actually killed people? Actually. But otherwise, I thought it was good. My coworkers didn't really like when he, like, was unmasked and he was just this, like, total little goober, but I feel that that's necessary in a good Riddler. You know, I do like the charismatic Riddler. You know, he's dripped out in the green suits and the purple tie, and, you know, that's all well and good. But, you know, this is, do you really think that a dude who spends all day sitting in his little room coming up with all these sort of crazy puzzles to foil a man in a bat suit, do you really think that he would be the one to be the charismatic, dripped out, suited fellow? I don't really think so. Selina was good too, the Catwoman, she was good. I really thought that they were going to go for more of the villain angle, the more ambiguous, but she was, really heroic throughout most of the entire thing, and I'm not really sure how I felt about that. I was always more into the Catwoman who's just stringing Batman along, but there was obviously romance elements in there that were very genuine from the side of Selina, and it wasn't really reciprocated by Bruce all that much. Though they did kiss like 3 times. Yeah, she was good. Penguin was great. I love Penguin. None of my other coworkers really liked him, though. But, you know, he looked the part, he acted the part. Whoa, take it easy, sweetheart. You know, he just seemed like a kind of crime lord, you know? One that you'd, like, actually see in the real world doing morally ambiguous stuff, running that little nightclub, which I'm glad that they brought back, because the Penguin should always own a little sleazy little nightclub, and some adaptations don't have that, and I don't really understand why. And that's kind of, I don't want to say it's a big part of his character, because it's more of a set piece, but, it is more of a, yeah, it's a lot, it really is kind of entwined in the personality of El Penguino. That was funny. There was the scene there when Penguin is like, "Oh, don't you two speak Spanish? That's El, not La," and that was pretty good. That was good. One thing I will say I didn't like, though, is the inclusion of the Joker in the ending. I thought that was a little bit forced, and it was just kind of setting up, oh, I'm gonna be in the next movie, ha ha ha! The third act twist, you know, you get him arrested, you get Riddler arrested, he's like, oh, this is all played into my plan, and, you know, you've been going through it this whole time, and now I'm sure you know what's gonna happen next. And Batman's like, wait, what's gonna happen? And Riddler's like, oh, you don't know, do you? And then what does happen, I felt like it was a little bit forced. Like, the movie could have ended, like, right before there, you know, interrogating him, and then he's like, oh, you lost, Riddler. And he's like, oh, you don't like me? Like, they could have just ended it with that scene. Otherwise, I thought that most of it was pretty clean and concise. There was a lady, like, who was attending to both Alfred and Bruce. I didn't really know who she was, and I don't really think that she had a place, and I thought that that was a little bit weird. But it was nice, and there's this boy who's orphaned, the mayor's son, and I thought that that was really good, because, you know, you see Bruce, he's constantly looking at the little kid, and you can look at it either two ways. One way is, oh, you know, you feel what Bruce feels, because, you know, he was in that similar position, or you can think of it in a weird way, which, let's not get into that. But yeah, that was a good movie. I thought it was pretty good. I think I would give it a 7.5 out of 10. The ending didn't really do much for me. It was a bit hammy and on the nose. But otherwise, I thought that it was a pretty decent movie. I liked the characters. I liked most of the characters. I really loved the setting that took place, and I loved the grounded nature of it. There was a lot to like. And let me know in the comments what you guys thought of it. Leave a like, make sure to subscribe. I hope I can make this into a series. And yeah, talk to you guys soon.